All right, today we're going to make a Christmas wreath art project. So the first thing you'll need is a piece of 9 by 12 black paper, and then you're going to cut it down into a square. So you want it to be a 9 by 9. So once you do that, you're going to take that square, and the next step is going to be to trace a circle on it. Now, you can use a compass or you can trace an existing circle. I'm just going to use a lid that I have, and I'm going to show you the measurements so you kind of know what size to make. Mine is about 3 1/4 inches. So if you want to use a compass to draw a circle that size, you can. Otherwise, find something that you can trace. You're going to do that lightly in pencil. I'm not going to do mine quite in the center because I want to have some room to do a bow at the top of my wreath, kind of like the one I've started on this sample here. So I'm going to actually lower my circle down just a little bit so that it's not quite centered top to bottom, but definitely want it centered side to side. And then I'm just going to use a pencil to trace the outline of that circle. Okay. Once that circle has been traced, you're going to use oil pastel pencils to complete your project. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to draw with a brown a curved line that comes out from the center. And I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see that line a little bit better. And you can see right here where that brown is. It doesn't show up super dark on that black paper, but you can still see it. Then I'm going to take kind of a lighter yellow brown, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of highlight right along the edge there. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is use a few shades of green to complete the next part of my project, and maybe even a little bit of yellow in there as well. So I've got lighter green, a medium green, and then kind of a pine green color. I'm going to start with my pine green. That's going to be my darker one. It's not going to show up as well on the screen as what it probably does on the paper, but I'm just using it to make some pine needle lines that come out from that branch. And you'll see that direction a little more as I go to the next lighter green. Just making short lines that go from the center of the branch outward. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then by mixing the different shades of green, you'll get some highlights. So that's what I'm going to do next, is bring in a light green, and I'm just going to come in between some of those pine needles and add some lighter shades. So just little lines, a few here at the top, and that gives it a little bit of highlight and darkness. You can also use a yellow. Yellow will also provide some highlight in there as well. Okay, so I've got my first branch done on my wreath, and I was going to show you how you can do some variations with color. So here you'll notice that I have a few branches that are mostly done in greens, but I also have some that are done more in browns and olive green color or army green color. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take another shade of brown, and I'm going to make another branch that comes out. I think this one's going to kind of tuck out from underneath. This one's more of a red-brown color. And then I'm going to come in and do a few lighter browns to start that branch. So this time the pine needles are going to come out. This one's kind of a tan brown color, as you can see. So those pine needles are going to come out along that branch. Just short little lines. They're kind of wispy. And then I'm going to add some other colors in with it to give it some depth. So this time I'm going to do some of that olive green color. And then I'm going to come in with some more brown. And then on this one, my highlight color is going to be done in white. So it just gives a little bit of variation in colors with those. What I'm going to do is continue to add some of those branches around my circle as I have in this sample. And I'm alternating some of the darker greens with some of the lighter brown yellows, okay? We're also going to add a few holly berries here in a minute too. So the same thing that we've just done, I'm going to go ahead and continue to add a few of those branches, and then we'll come in and add some holly berries to go along with it. All right, I've added a few different branches, and now I'm going to show you how to add some holly berries. So the first thing that I'm going to do for my holly berries is start out by drawing 3 red circles. So I'm going to come in, so I broke mine, hold on. I'm going to come in right above that area and just draw in a red circle. And I'm going to add a little bit of shadow with a brick red over on this side. It's kind of a red-brown. I have a little bit of an orange, and then I'm going to highlight with my white for the center of my berry. So just a little bit of a highlight there. Okay, so once again, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a circle shape. I'm going to come around with my red. Pretty bright on that side. A little bit of orange to show just a little bit of color variation. The brick red, which was more of a brown, will go over on that side. And then once again, we'll just add some white for a little bit of highlight. I need to sharpen mine, so I'm going to use kind of a pale yellow here instead till I get that white sharpened. All right, so there's my second berry, and then I'm just going to add the third. All right, for that third holly berry, once again, I'm just going to take my red, I'm going to add that third circle, pretty bright on one side, and then it's going to fade as it goes to the other side with a little bit of the orange into the brick colored, which is kind of a reddish brown. And then I'll come back in and add my white highlight. There. Nice. Okay, so once I have my berries on there, then the next step is going to be to start adding a little bit more pine branches coming up the side. So just like I did before, I'm going to do the same steps going more in an upward direction over here. So here I'm going to do just another one of those brown branches coming out. You can use a little bit of a yellow or a light tan to lighten or to highlight that. And then of course you're just going to come in with your pine needles. I'm going to start with this medium toned green, making some pine needles that come out on both sides. And then I'll come in once again adding some highlights and variation with lighter and darker colors. So here's a lighter green. And then I think I'm going to add just a little bit of white in there as well. Not a lot, but a here and there. There, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to continue adding those branches coming out from those berries. Once again, I want them to be coming around in a wreath shape, keeping in mind that I'm going to save a place at the top to add a bow. Okay, so for today, you're only going to add about half of your holly berries, and then we'll save the rest for tomorrow, and I'll give you the lesson on how to do the bow. Okay, so I've added additional branches. I've filled about half of my circle, and that's all I want you to do for today. And then tomorrow we will learn how to add the bow and fill in the rest of the wreath with more berries and branches.